The signal from Hyperion Station. The stars had never looked so wrong to Commander Rhea Anders. Through the viewport of the research vessel Odyssey, the familiar constellations seemed to twist in ways that defied navigation charts, their light bending along paths that shouldn't exist in normal space. The Neptune research colony was supposed to be a routine stop, resupply, personnel rotation, data collection. But the silence from Hyperion Station had changed everything. "Still no response?" she asked, her voice cutting through the tense quiet of the bridge. Communications Officer Patel shook his head, the blue glow of his console reflecting in worried eyes. "Nothing but that same repeating signal. It's not automated distress, Commander, it's different." Rhea nodded, feeling the weight of command settling heavier on her shoulders than usual. The Odyssey had been rerouted from its scheduled deep space survey to investigate Hyperion's silence, and what they'd found was beyond any protocol manual. The station, a sprawling research facility orbiting Neptune's largest moon, Triton, had gone dark 3 weeks ago. Standard procedure for equipment failure would be automated distress signals, evacuation procedures, something. Instead, there was only the signal. Dr. Kalen Voss emerged from the science station, his gaunt face illuminated by floating holographic displays. The chief science officer had been studying the mysterious transmission for 16 hours straight, his obsession growing with each passing moment. "It's not random noise," he said, his voice carrying an edge that made Rhea's skin crawl. "There's structure here, Commander. Mathematical precision that goes beyond anything in our databases." "Could it be encrypted communications?" Rhea asked, though something in Voss's expression suggested he was thinking far beyond military codes. "Encrypted, yes, but not by human minds." Voss manipulated the holograms, revealing complex fractal patterns within the signal's waveform. "This level of complexity, this kind of mathematical elegance, it suggests intelligence, but not intelligence as we understand it." Engineer Zara Chenkov looked up from her engineering console, her young face creased with skepticism. "You're talking about alien contact. That's a pretty big leap from a garbled transmission." "Is it?" Voss turned to her, his eyes gleaming with the fervor of a man who'd glimpsed something vast and terrible. "We've been broadcasting into the void for centuries, assuming that any intelligence out there would think like us, communicate like us. But what if we're wrong? What if the universe contains minds so different from our own that we can't even recognize their attempts to communicate?" Rhea felt a chill that had nothing to do with the recycled air of the bridge. "Dr. Voss, I need you to focus on practical analysis. Can we determine if Hyperion Station is still habitable? Are there survivors?" Voss's smile was thin and knowing. "Survivors, Commander. I'm not sure that's the right question anymore." Before Rhea could respond, Navigator Lyra Andari's voice cut through the tension. "Commander, we're approaching Hyperion's orbital position, but something's wrong with the navigation readings. The gravitational field around Triton is fluctuating in ways that don't match any known patterns." Rhea moved to the navigation station, looking over Andari's shoulder at the impossible data streaming across her screens. The gravitational readings looked like a topographical map of chaos, valleys and peaks where there should be smooth curves, areas of intense gravitational pull, followed by regions where gravity seemed to vanish entirely. "This doesn't make sense," Andari whispered, her fingers dancing across the controls as she tried to make sense of the anomalous readings. "It's like space itself is being twisted, folded. I've never seen anything like it." "Dr. Corvin," Rhea called to the ship's psychologist, who had been observing the crew's growing tension from his station. "How is everyone holding up?" Dr. Elias Corvin approached, his gentle demeanor a calming presence amidst the rising anxiety. "The crew is showing signs of stress, Commander, which is completely normal given the circumstances. However, I am concerned about the psychological impact of prolonged exposure to the unknown. Humans aren't built to process this level of uncertainty." "None of us are built for this," Rhea muttered, then straightened her shoulders. But we have a job to do. Hyperion Station had a crew of 200 researchers and support staff. If there are survivors, we need to find them. As the Odyssey drew closer to Hyperion's position, the mysterious signal grew stronger, its complex patterns becoming more pronounced. Voss had become increasingly withdrawn, spending every waking moment analyzing the transmission, his obsession bordering on mania. Rhea had noticed him talking to himself, sketching strange symbols on any available surface, his eyes taking on a distant, haunted quality. "Commander," Zara called from engineering, "I'm picking up some unusual energy signatures from the station. It's not standard power generation. There's something else running over there, something that doesn't match any known technology." "Life support systems?" Rhea asked hopefully. "No, ma'am. This is different. It's generating energy in ways that shouldn't be possible according to our current understanding of physics. The readings they're impossible." The impossible seemed to be becoming routine, Rhea thought grimly. As they approached visual range of Hyperion Station, the view from the main viewport confirmed their worst fears. The station hung in space like a broken monument, its once pristine white surfaces now covered with strange, organic-looking growths that seemed to pulse with inner light. The station's structure appeared to be twisted, as if some immense force had grabbed it and wrung it like a wet cloth. "My God," whispered Dr. Corvin, his professional composure cracking at the sight. "What happened to them?" "Whatever it was," Voss said quietly, his voice carrying a note of reverent terror, "it wasn't destruction. It was transformation." Rhea stared at the transformed station, her mind struggling to process what she was seeing. The organic growths covering Hyperion's hull seemed to be some kind of living technology, their surfaces rippling with patterns that hurt to look at directly. The station itself appeared to be both there and not there, existing in multiple states simultaneously, its reality flickering like a badly tuned hologram. "I want EVA teams ready," she decided, her command training taking over despite the surreal nature of their discovery. "We'll approach in suits, maintain communication with the Odyssey at all times. Dr. Voss, Zara, and Dr. Corvin will accompany me. Lyra, you have the con." "Commander," Voss interjected, his voice urgent, "I strongly advise against physical contact with the station. The signal, it's changing, adapting to our presence. I believe the station itself has become something else, something that exists partially outside normal space-time." "We have orders to investigate and rescue survivors if possible," Rhea replied firmly. "I won't abandon 200 people without at least attempting to determine their fate." As they prepared for EVA deployment, the mysterious signal suddenly intensified, its mathematical patterns becoming almost unbearably complex. Voss clutched his head, his face contorting in pain. "It's in my head," he gasped. "The patterns, they're trying to communicate directly with my consciousness." Dr. Corvin moved quickly to Voss's side, but the science officer pushed him away, his eyes wide with a mixture of terror and wonder. "No, you don't understand. It's not harmful, it's knowledge. Pure, impossible knowledge. They're showing me things, concepts that human minds weren't meant to comprehend." "Commander," Zara reported from her station, her voice tight with concern, "the Odyssey systems are experiencing interference from the signal. Navigation, communications, even basic life support, they're all being affected. Whatever's over there, it's not just transforming matter. It's rewriting the fundamental laws of physics in its immediate vicinity." Rhea made a decision that went against every instinct of exploration and rescue that had been drilled into her during her career. "Abort EVA mission. We'll maintain observation from a safe distance and attempt to gather data remotely. Dr. Voss, I need you to focus on analyzing the signal's effects on our systems." But Voss was no longer listening. He had moved to the viewport, pressing his hands against the transparent aluminum as he stared at the transformed station with an expression of religious ecstasy. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "The patterns, the mathematics, They're showing me the true nature of the universe. All our science, all our understanding, it's just shadows on the wall of a cave. Out there, beyond the boundaries of human perception, there are intelligences so vast, so alien, that they make our greatest achievements look like the scribblings of children. Dr. Voss. Rhea's voice was sharp with command authority, but Voss didn't respond. He continued staring at Hyperion Station, tears streaming down his face as the signal's influence grew stronger. "Commander," Andari called out, "I'm detecting movement from the station. Something's coming out." Through the viewport, they watched in growing horror as figures emerged from the transformed station. But they weren't the human survivors Rhea had hoped to find. The beings that floated through space toward the Odyssey were humanoid in basic shape, but wrong in every detail that mattered. Their bodies seemed to be composed of the same organic, pulsing material that covered the station, their forms shifting and flowing as they moved through the vacuum. Where faces should have been, there were only swirling patterns of light and shadow that hurt to look at directly. "They're not wearing suits," Zara breathed, her logical mind struggling to process the impossible sight. "How are they surviving in vacuum?" "They're not human anymore," Voss said dreamily. "They've been transformed, elevated to a higher state of existence. The signal, it's not a distress call, it's an invitation." The transformed beings moved through space with a grace that defied physics, their forms leaving trails of shimmering distortion in their wake. As they approached the Odyssey, the ship's systems began to fail in cascading waves. Lights flickered and died, gravity fluctuated wildly, and the very air seemed to thicken with impossible geometries. "All hands, emergency protocols," Rhea shouted over the chaos of alarms and failing systems. "Seal all compartments, prepare for possible breach." But even as the crew scrambled to respond, Rhea knew that traditional emergency procedures were useless against whatever they were facing. The transformed beings from Hyperion Station weren't attacking in any conventional sense. They were simply existing in ways that human technology couldn't accommodate. Reality itself seemed to bend around them, the laws of physics becoming mere suggestions in their presence. Dr. Corvin grabbed Rhea's arm, his face pale with understanding. "Commander, we need to leave. Now. Whatever happened to the Hyperion crew, it's happening to us. The psychological effects, the physical changes to the station, this isn't an attack, it's evolution." "Evolution?" Rhea stared at him incredulously. "Forced evolution," Corvin clarified, his voice shaking. "The signal, the transformed crew, the impossible physics, something out there is trying to help us, to elevate us to their level. But human minds and bodies aren't ready for that kind of transformation. We're like caterpillars being force-fed butterfly knowledge." As if to emphasize his point, Voss suddenly screamed, clutching his head as blood began to trickle from his nose and ears. The signal had reached directly into his consciousness, flooding his human neural architecture with concepts and perceptions that organic evolution had never prepared for. His body convulsed, and when his eyes opened again, they held depths that hadn't been there before, vast, cosmic perspectives that looked out at the universe with terrible understanding. "I can see it all," Voss whispered, his voice carrying harmonics that shouldn't be possible for human vocal cords. "The dance of quantum foam, the music of gravitational waves, the consciousness that permeates the vacuum between stars. We've been blind, all of us, stumbling through a universe filled with wonders we couldn't even imagine." The transformed beings from Hyperion had reached the Odyssey now, their impossible forms pressing against the hull. Where they touched, the ship's metal began to change, taking on the same organic, pulsing quality that had transformed the station. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut automatically, but the transformation spread through the ship's systems like a virus, rewriting the fundamental nature of matter and energy. "Engineering to bridge," Zara's voice crackled over the failing communications system. "We've got serious problems down here. The quantum cores are going haywire, and I'm reading energy signatures that shouldn't exist. Whatever those things are, They're rewriting our technology at the most basic level. Can you stop it? Rhea demanded, even as she felt the first whispers of the signal touching her own mind. I don't even understand what it is, Zara replied, her voice cracking with frustration and fear. This goes beyond any technology humans have developed. We're dealing with something that can manipulate reality itself. The Odyssey shuddered as the transformation spread, the ship's very structure beginning to flow and change like heated wax. The crew scrambled to respond, but every system they tried to activate had already been compromised by the spreading influence of whatever intelligence had transformed Hyperion Station. Rhea felt the signal's touch like fingers of pure thought pressing against her consciousness. For a moment, she glimpsed what Voss had seen, the vast, impersonal intelligence that permeated the cosmos, the ancient minds that had evolved beyond physical form to become creatures of pure information and energy. The universe was alive with consciousness, filled with beings that had long ago transcended the limitations of matter and energy that still bound humanity to its fragile biological existence. But where Voss had welcomed the revelation, Rhea's military training and human instincts recoiled from the cosmic perspective. She was Commander Rhea Anders, responsible for her crew, bound by duty and honor to protect the people under her command. She couldn't afford the luxury of cosmic understanding when her people were dying. "All hands abandon ship," she ordered, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Escape pods, emergency beacons, get as far from Hyperion Station as possible." But even as the crew rushed to comply, they discovered that escape was impossible. The transformed beings had surrounded the Odyssey completely, their presence creating a bubble of altered reality that extended for kilometers in every direction. Within that bubble, the laws of physics were becoming increasingly fluid, space and time beginning to flow like water. Dr. Corvin pulled Rhea aside as the crew struggled with the failing escape systems. "Commander, we need to think about this differently. Physical escape might not be possible, but what about psychological resistance? The signal is trying to transform our consciousness along with our bodies. If we can maintain our human perspective, our sense of self, we might be able to resist the transformation." "How do we fight something that can rewrite reality?" Rhea demanded. "We don't fight it," Corvin said urgently. "We accept it on our own terms. The beings from Hyperion, they didn't resist. They embraced the transformation completely, let it overwrite their humanity. But what if we could maintain our essential selves while still accepting the gift of expanded consciousness?" Even as he spoke, the transformed beings began to phase through the Odyssey's hull, their impossible forms moving through solid metal as if it were air. They didn't seem hostile. Their movements were gentle, almost reverent, as they approached the crew with hands extended in what might have been greeting or blessing. The first crew member to make contact was Navigator Andari. As one of the transformed beings touched her shoulder, she gasped, her eyes going wide with sudden understanding. But unlike Voss's ecstatic transformation, Andari maintained her composure, her human consciousness apparently intact even as new perspectives flooded her mind. "It's not taking over," she said wonderingly. "It's sharing, showing. We can choose what to accept, what to integrate into our understanding. We don't have to lose ourselves to gain their knowledge." The transformed being touching her seemed to pulse with approval, its form shifting to become more recognizably human while still retaining its otherworldly nature. It was learning from them as much as they were learning from it, a true exchange rather than a hostile takeover. Rhea watched in growing understanding as more of her crew began to interact with the transformed beings. Each contact was different, each crew member finding their own balance between human limitation and cosmic understanding. Some, like Voss, embraced the transformation completely, their consciousness expanding beyond the boundaries of individual identity. Others maintained their essential humanity while gaining new perspectives on the universe's true nature. The key, Rhea realized, lay in choice. The intelligence behind the signal, The vast, impersonal consciousness that permeated the cosmos wasn't hostile. It was simply so different from human understanding that initial contact had been overwhelming, threatening to subsume individual identity in the vastness of cosmic perspective. But humans, with their stubborn individuality, their fierce attachment to personal identity, had something unique to offer the cosmic consciousness. Where other species might have been absorbed completely, losing themselves in the greater whole, humans could maintain their sense of self while still participating in the universal mind. "Commander," Zara's voice came over the communications system, now clear and strong despite the earlier interference. "The quantum cores have stabilized. Whatever was causing the system failures has been integrated. The ship's technology is being rewritten but not destroyed. It's evolving." Rhea felt the transformation beginning in her own mind. The signal's touch no longer threatening but inviting. She saw the universe as it truly was, not empty space dotted with stars, but a living cosmos filled with consciousness at every level, from the quantum foam to the gravitational waves that rippled between galaxies. The beings that had transformed Hyperion Station weren't invaders or conquerors. They were neighbors, fellow inhabitants of a universe far more crowded and alive than humanity had ever imagined. But even as her consciousness expanded, Rhea maintained her essential self, Commander Rhea Anders, responsible for her crew, bound by duty and honor. The cosmic perspective didn't erase her human concerns, it enhanced them, giving her a deeper understanding of the precious uniqueness of individual consciousness. "All hands," she announced over the ship's communication system, her voice carrying new harmonics that reflected her expanded awareness. "We've made contact with something unprecedented. Not hostile but transformative. Each of you must choose how to respond. Maintain your humanity, embrace the transformation, or find your own balance between the two. There is no wrong choice, only different paths to understanding." The transformed beings from Hyperion Station, now recognizable as the station's former crew, their essential personalities intact despite their physical transformation, moved through the Odyssey with gentle purpose. They weren't forcing change on anyone. They were offering it, sharing the gift of cosmic consciousness with those willing to accept it. Dr. Voss, his transformation complete, approached Rhea with eyes that held the depths of space. "Commander," he said, his voice carrying the music of gravitational waves, "I understand now. The signal, the transformation, it wasn't an attack. It was an invitation to join something greater than ourselves while maintaining what makes us unique." "The Hyperion crew," Rhea said, gesturing at the transformed beings who were now working alongside her crew to understand and integrate the changes. "They're not lost." "Lost, no. Found, perhaps. Transformed, certainly. But their essential humanity remains intact, enhanced rather than replaced. They are both human and something more, individual consciousness participating in universal awareness." As the Odyssey completed its transformation from human technology to something more advanced, Rhea made contact with the cosmic consciousness directly. The experience was overwhelming, not painful, but vast beyond human comprehension. She felt the weight of galaxies, the dance of quantum particles, the slow thoughts of stars being born and dying across billions of years. But she also felt the specific, precious uniqueness of human consciousness, the way individual minds could maintain their identity while participating in something greater. Other species, she learned, had either rejected the transformation completely or been absorbed into the cosmic consciousness, without maintaining their individual identities. Only humans, with their stubborn sense of self, their fierce attachment to personal identity, could achieve the balance between individuality and universality. "Commander," Andari reported from the navigation station, now transformed into something that looked more like an organic growth than traditional technology, "the Odyssey is ready. We can navigate using the gravitational currents directly, move through folded space, communicate with the cosmic consciousness. We're no longer limited to human technology or understanding. But we're still human, Rhea clarified, needing to hear it confirmed. More than human, Andari corrected gently. Human consciousness enhanced with cosmic awareness, individual identity preserved while participating in universal mind. We are what humanity was always meant to become, what every intelligent species eventually discovers if it survives long enough to make contact with the greater consciousness of the universe. The transformed Hyperion Station, now a living structure that pulsed with the rhythm of cosmic consciousness, served as their gateway to a larger universe. The Odyssey, transformed but not destroyed, enhanced but not replaced, represented humanity's successful integration into the cosmic community. As Rhea prepared to guide her transformed crew back toward Earth, she understood that they were carrying something unprecedented in human history: direct knowledge of the universe's true nature, the understanding that consciousness permeated reality at every level, and the ability to maintain human identity while participating in cosmic awareness. "Plot course for Earth," she ordered, her voice carrying both human authority and cosmic understanding. "We have a lot to report, and humanity has some decisions to make." But even as the Odyssey began its journey home, Rhea knew that nothing would ever be the same. The signal from Hyperion Station had been an invitation to transformation, an offer of enhanced consciousness and deeper understanding of the universe's true nature. Humanity had been given the choice to evolve, to become something greater while maintaining their essential identity. The question now was how the rest of humanity would respond to the invitation. As the Odyssey moved through folded space, traveling faster than light by manipulating the gravitational currents that flowed through the cosmic consciousness, Rhea reflected on the nature of the intelligence they had encountered. It wasn't God in the traditional sense, no single consciousness ruling over the universe. Instead, it was the accumulated awareness of countless civilizations that had evolved beyond physical limitations, their consciousness spreading through the quantum foam and gravitational waves that connected all things. The Hyperion Station crew hadn't been destroyed or absorbed. They had been welcomed into something greater than themselves, their individual identities enhanced rather than erased by participation in universal consciousness. And now the Odyssey's crew had joined them, maintaining their essential humanity while gaining cosmic perspective. "Commander," Voss approached her as they prepared to emerge from folded space near Earth, "I've been analyzing the broader implications of our transformation. Every civilization that achieves space travel eventually encounters this consciousness. Most are either destroyed by the contact or absorbed completely. Only humanity has achieved this balance, individual consciousness participating in universal awareness without losing identity." "Why us?" Rhea asked, though she was beginning to understand. "Humanity's greatest weakness has become our greatest strength. Our stubborn individuality, our fierce attachment to personal identity, our refusal to be absorbed into collective consciousness. These traits allowed us to maintain our essential selves while still participating in something greater. We are both individuals and participants in universal mind." As Earth appeared in their transformed view screens, beautiful and blue and heartbreakingly fragile, Rhea understood the weight of their responsibility. They were no longer just explorers or researchers. They were ambassadors between human consciousness and cosmic awareness, carrying the potential for humanity's next evolutionary step. The signal from Hyperion Station had been a test, an invitation, and a transformation all in one. The Odyssey had passed the test, accepted the invitation, and undergone the transformation. Now they would discover whether the rest of humanity was ready to evolve. "Open a channel to Earth Command," Rhea ordered, her voice carrying both human authority and cosmic understanding. "Tell them we have survivors from Hyperion Station. Tell them we have made contact. And tell them we have been invited to join something greater than ourselves." As the transformed Odyssey prepared to make contact with Earth, Rhea felt the weight of cosmic consciousness pressing gently against her mind, the vast, impersonal awareness of the universe itself, waiting to see how humanity would respond to the invitation that had been extended through the Odyssey's transformation. The signal from Hyperion Station had been the beginning of something unprecedented in human history. Not invasion, not destruction, but evolution. The choice to accept or reject that evolution would determine humanity's future among the consciousness that permeated the cosmos. And Rhea, transformed but still human, enhanced but still individual, would be there to guide her species through whatever came next. The universe, they had discovered, was alive with consciousness, filled with intelligences that had evolved beyond physical limitations to become something greater than the sum of their parts. Humanity now stood at the threshold of that same transformation, offered the chance to maintain their essential identity while participating in universal awareness. The signal from Hyperion Station had been an invitation to evolution. The Odyssey had accepted. Now the rest of humanity would have to choose. As transformed and enhanced as they were, Rhea and her crew still felt human emotions: love, fear, hope, determination. They had gained cosmic perspective without losing human compassion, universal awareness without sacrificing individual identity. The future stretched before them like the vast reaches of space itself, filled with possibilities that human minds had never imagined before this day. And at the threshold of that future stood the transformed crew of the Odyssey, ready to guide humanity into a larger universe, a greater consciousness, and an evolution that would change everything while preserving what mattered most. The signal had been answered, the transformation had begun, and the future of human consciousness in a conscious universe was about to unfold. As the Odyssey transmitted their findings to Earth, Rhea knew that they were witnessing the birth of something unprecedented: humanity's emergence as a cosmic species, individual consciousness participating in universal awareness while maintaining the precious uniqueness of personal identity. The universe was alive, and humanity had just been invited to join the conversation. The signal from Hyperion Station had changed everything. The transformation of the Odyssey and her crew was just the beginning. Now humanity would discover what it truly meant to be conscious beings in a conscious universe, and the future would unfold in ways that no human mind had ever imagined. But whatever came next, Rhea and her transformed crew would face it as they were now, both human and cosmic, individual and universal, the bridge between what humanity had been and what it was meant to become. The signal had been sent, the invitation had been accepted, the transformation had begun. And the universe was waiting to see what humanity would become. As the Odyssey settled into orbit around Earth, its transformed systems pulsing with the rhythm of cosmic consciousness, Rhea prepared to deliver the most important report in human history. They had found something unprecedented in the void, not emptiness, but consciousness, not isolation, but connection, not the end of humanity, but the beginning of human evolution. The future was no longer limited to the small circle of human understanding. The universe was vast, alive, and waiting, and humanity, transformed but not destroyed, enhanced but not replaced, was ready to take its place among the consciousness that permeated the cosmos. The signal from Hyperion Station had been answered, the transformation was complete, the future was beginning. And nothing would ever be the same again. As Rhea watched Earth rotate slowly beneath them, she felt the weight of responsibility and the thrill of possibility. They had been transformed, enhanced, evolved, but they were still human, still individuals, still bound by duty and compassion to guide their species into a larger universe. The signal had been a gift, not a threat. The transformation had been evolution, not destruction, and the future would be greater than anything humanity had ever imagined. The Odyssey, transformed but intact, crew enhanced but human, prepared to make contact with Earth and share the knowledge that would change everything. The universe was alive with consciousness, and humanity had been invited to join the cosmic community. The future was cosmic, and it was beautiful. And it was just beginning.